What's up everyone, my name is Hytro and welcome to a Hytale blog post video. So there's a spring 2025 development update that just dropped, so we're gonna get into this and cover all of that. And yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys do find this video informative. And before we begin, if my mic sounds different or if you're hearing any echoing, it's because I've recently moved to an apartment, so even though it's soundproof, the rooms tend to be echoey, so bear with me on that. But anyway, with that being said, let us begin. So starting off, the Hytale team greets us by saying, "Hi, in this update, we're going to take a look at some of the progress we've been making in the first few months of 2025, before looking ahead to the aspects of Hytale that we'll be playtesting internally over the course of this year. After that, it's time to finally reveal a new character that we teased back at the end of 2023, a new addition to an old faction that is the reason our executive producer hasn't been able to show his right leg in public for the last couple of years." Before I continue with this blog post, I'm just going to briefly mention that I won't be doing a closer look video either. Any pictures or videos or clips, I'm just going to cover them right here within this blog post video. So moving on to engine progress, they say, "Our rendering team has been steadily re-establishing and in many cases improving upon atmospheric features from our previous engine. In the clip below, you can see one of our test scenes shifting from night to day with marked improvements to our trees. Branches are back, shadow maps, and skybox." Alright, so here's the clip. And that's the clip, the night and day cycle in the new engine. And with that new music, I also heard a light motif of a new adventure. Let me know if you heard that. Anyway, continuing on, the blog post says, "In the next clip, we explored the same scene and the area around it in creative mode, showing off an early version of our new flying animations before landing and stepping into a cave." So here's that clip. And there we go, that was a flying clip within the new engine. Obviously it's still a work in progress and some stuff may look unfinished, like that landing. When the avatar was landing and stuff, that was a little unfinished, or it looked a little unfinished. But anyway, moving on, they say, "Steady improvements across many areas of the engine are allowing us to bring an increasing number of gameplay systems online in preparation for internal playtesting in 2025. Over the years that Hytale's engine has been in redevelopment, we've relied on various forms of prototyping to continually push the design of the game forward. It has been exciting to see these systems coming online this year, just in time for internal playtesting. We started with the fundamentals, systems like core movement, block placement, combat, and crafting, supported by a fresh approach to the inventory and hotbars. So below that text, we have this picture right here. And first of all, branches are finally back. No more of those ugly block patterns and stuff. So yeah, we finally have branches connecting to the leaves again. And other than that, the landscape looks better and the lighting looks like it's been improved ever since the last development update. On the creative side of things, we'll be testing the process through which players configure their custom worlds, adjusting the variety of parameters that determine the content they'll experience. either as creators or adventurers. We've been implementing creator-focused features like block selection, copy/paste, and undo/redo too, and we're hoping to get as far as testable versions of logic blocks and blocks impacted by physics in time for the first external creator team to test them out later this year. For Orbis, we're on track to deliver adventure gameplay centered around fundamental life skills like cooking and smithing, along with a revamped and expanded approach to POIs and encounters. Alright, and right below that, we have this picture, and I've got to say, I'm loving these tall trees and stuff. Now, what I'm wondering, they said that they were porting some older stuff over, so I'm wondering if that also included like the different tree types that they had a while ago, or if that doesn't include that at all, because a lot of these look like new tree types that they just made from the ground up. And of course we could see another developer or person's avatar right here, some flowers and stuff, some tall grass, and it looks like there might be a pond right down here. It looks like there might be a pond right down here, like right beneath new engine progress, spring 2025, but we cannot see that. Anyway, moving on. We're also hoping to deliver our first of several revamped regions. Regions have replaced zones as the way we approach designing each part of Orbis. Each represents a collection of 3 to 5 biomes with a cohesive theme that ties gameplay, creative direction, and narrative together. Regions are smaller than the old zones, but there are often more of them, and this finer degree of control allows us to give every part of the world a stronger sense of identity. So we have another picture down here, but it's the same one from above, just a different perspective, and yeah, everything's mostly the same. So I was right, there's a pond right here with some lily pads, and then I don't necessarily know what this is. I would assume these are either rocks. These are either rocks or there may be sticks or something. I don't think they're sticks. They might be rocks or something. I don't know. But we're going to move on now. The first of these, Central Grasslands, represents the heart of what was once Zone 1. Here, players will find open prairies dotted with sparse forests and rocky outcrops. Rich in resources, this is the place where many journeys on Orbis begin. Chorks make their homes here too. Let's hope Orbis' most dangerous monster hunters have their eyes set on bigger targets than our newly arrived avatars. Beyond the Central Grasslands, we'll be developing regions that draw on aspects of the old Zones 1, 2, and 3, from the wild savanna to the boreal frontier and the deep forests of Earthglade, where single-minded aggression of the Chorks has stirred them once again into a path of an old adversary, a new leaf or two. In our Winter 2023 update, we illustrated the sort of change that all of Orbis factions have undergone by introducing the reimagined Kweebec Tree Singer. However, we intentionally skipped over a brand new stage in the Kweebec life cycle. So below that, we have concept art for the first stage of Kweebecs, the seedling stage, and then the second stage right here below that. So there's some different variants here. There's one with a flower on its head, that's interesting. This one looks similar to this seedling right here, this emo seedling over here. And there's one over here with 3 leaves. There's another one right here with just a single leaf. And there's another one over here with 3 leaves as well. Here's the 2-leaf one, the one that we are most familiar with and that we've seen before. Kweebecs began as seedlings, dropping from the branches of the elders that reside at the heart of their villages. Like real seeds, young Kweebecs contain lots of potential, and the seedlings are particularly energetic, rushing around and often getting themselves into trouble. As they get older, this exuberance matures into an eagerness for adventure. Young Kweebecs roam beyond their villages in search of new skill and knowledge, learning about themselves in the process. These are the Kweebecs you already know, youthful tree folk on their way to becoming rooted elders or sage tree singers. But we skipped a step. When young Kweebecs return to their villages, they mature into a form that reflects all that they've learned about Orbis and themselves in the course of their adventures. Taking on new responsibilities, they become the artisans, cultivators, and sometimes warriors that their villages need. So below all of that text, we have 3 pieces of new Kweebec concept art. So the first one is up on screen now, which is what you guys are seeing. And yeah, this is the mature Kweebec. So I guess this is in between, like, I would assume teenager to young adult. This is probably like one phase. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. And then there's another one. Another mature Kweebec concept art right here. It looks like these are more variants branching off of that idea. And the third one seems to be a GIF of an in-game mature Kweebec model. So this looks pretty sick actually. You know, the overall tone that he's bringing to the table as well. It looks pretty cool. Anyway, those are the 3 concept pieces, and now we're gonna move on. If you've ever wondered how a civilization of peaceful tree folk survived the challenges of Orbis history, from marauding Chorks to Varen's invasion, well, here's how. Mature Kweebecs represent the midpoint between young Kweebec and tree singers. They're taller and heavier than their younger brethren, but stronger and more resilient. They occupy important roles in their villages and no longer roam as much as they did. Instead, they act as both protector and tutor to more youthful Kweebecs, and our avatars stand to benefit from their knowledge too. So we have 3 pictures after that. Technically, 2 of them are GIFs, but first off, we have the Kweebec lineup concept art here. We have the seedling, I guess the kid Kweebec right here. Then we have, I guess, teenage years, early adulthood, probably middle or elderly age, and then yeah, they turn into a tree. Next, we have this GIF here of all the Kweebecs from that lineup concept art. They're walking like they're about to pull up on someone right here. This is so cool. I'm glad we're seeing in-game models like of the actual concept arts that were above. This is pretty cool. Let's move on to the next one. So same models from before, same 3D models, but this time they're all doing poses. A few mature Kweebecs range further than the rest, however. These ones, called Razor Leaves, delve into the depths of Orbis' most dangerous forests in pursuit of threats to their home. And one of them, a few years ago, found itself tattooed on John's leg. A note from John. Finally, I can also say that about being past our big end-of-year Blancs milestone and on to prepping for playtesting. Every month, Hytale gets closer to the game we've dreamed of delivering. The creative play team has been making big progress, and they are eager to be the first to playtest. They are going to have to move fast to stay ahead of the adventure team, or the group prepping our next combat playtest, or the UX team working on inventory and hotbar upgrades. You can see why I am always so excited. I hope you've enjoyed this quick update from the minds of Orbis, John and the team. So here's a quick look at the razor leaf tattoo that's on John's leg. And yeah, that's it for the blog post. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this video informative. And if you did, you can feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next Hytale video.